again, it's Quotidian Light, and this is my son Ariel, and today we're going to be starting some locks on him, and I will be chronicling this on my channel since he has mixed hair. I figure that's something that a lot of people with mixed hair or looser hair textures may like to see from the very beginning. There's some great YouTubers that have mixed hair, but most of them started their videos after the fact, or they do latching method. And for him, we're actually going to start with comb coils. Go ahead and turn around. He has always had long hair. He didn't get his first haircut until 2nd grade. He's had his hair short twice in his life and he hated it. The first time he actually refused to take off his hat and got in trouble in school because he hated short hair so much. As he's gotten older, it's gotten more difficult to take care of because now he's too old for mommy to jump in the shower and do his hair. So up until about 3 years ago, his hair reached middle back to waist length. And when it would shrink up to about his shoulder blades. We have cut his hair twice in the last year. He's lost a lot of length due to breakage and inability to really keep his own hair up. Turn around. Because he is a teenage boy, he doesn't like to comb his hair. And yeah, I've been known to chase him around the house with a bottle of shampoo. Metaphorically.
Oh, okay. Because
you don't like to wash it much either. So today I kind of was looking at his hair as he was sitting at the computer, and I reached like a breaking point, and I put it to him as we can either cut most of it off or we can go ahead and do locks, because if he's going to have locks, I want them done right. His hair naturally wants to lock, but it wants to lock with like 1 lock here, 2 here, and like 3 in this other section. And so we're gonna go ahead and put locks in his hair. I'm gonna follow his natural curl pattern, much the way Damien does for his wavier hair clients. And I'm gonna use very light product. I'm just gonna be using a moisturizing protein spray, a light mist of oil at the very end just to lock in moisture, and just a little bit of the My Gel. And we're going to try to do his hair every 2 to 3 weeks. And so yeah, let's get started. First things first, we're going to wash this stuff. Now the first thing I'm going to be doing is using a clarifying shampoo. Because he has such a hard time washing his hair himself, he tends to get conditioner buildup in his hair. And I want to make sure that that is all gone before we start his locks. Are you drowning yet?
No. Wait, yet? Yet?
Just check to see if my work was done. I'm going to follow this with the most gentle shampoo that I currently have in the house, and it's extremely moisturizing. I'm using the Pravana Color Endure. That's the shampoo I normally use, but while his hair is not color treated, he has a lot of protein damage just from ripping through his hair with combs and brushes and just generally not taking very good care of his hair. Now I'm gonna go ahead and moisturize his hair. I'm using the Pravana conditioner, but if his hair continues to feel dry, I may actually go back in with a deep conditioning treatment. I normally use this for myself, and I dilute it in a spray bottle and spray it on my hair, but he really needs concentrated treatment. Get that curl pattern back so I have something to work with. Remember me doing this when you were little?
No.
No!
I don't remember anything from when I was little.
I feel so unloved and unremembered.
What?
When I'm dead, you're gonna look just like, I don't remember anything. You know, I know I had a mom, but I just don't remember anything from when I was little.
Pretty much.
Ow! I'm gonna smack you.
What? A lot of things happened in 30 years.
I love you too, knucklehead. A girl would never let her hair get to this point.
Because girls care about all.
Exactly! What are you gonna do when you get a girlfriend?
Nothing. I'm not getting one.
Okay, what are you gonna do when you get a boyfriend?
I'm not getting a boyfriend.
Okay, we're recording.
Are you sure?
So what I've done is I've pulled out the first row so you can really get a good look at his curl pattern. As you can tell, his hair is pretty uneven. I'm going to be trimming it later on. Not too big of a deal. But looking at his natural curl pattern, it naturally has about this size of a loop. So I'm going to be making his parts the same size that his curls naturally are. And what you'll notice is when I do the comb coil, there's space in his curls. I'm not worried about that because eventually that will fill in with shed hair. But if I do his locks, if I try to do locks big enough that there's not space between those coils, it's impossible because that's how his hair naturally coils. I would have to have like ginormous locks in order to have solid comb coils. And we're not going to be doing 2-strand twists because he hates 2-strand twists. They look too ropey and they look like something a girl would wear. So that's just not something that he's interested in. So like I said, we're going to follow his natural curl pattern. It's going to take a little bit longer to lock. And we're going to have to be very careful with how he sleeps and making sure his hair doesn't get wet except for on shower days. I'm using a leave-in. I'm using the Pravana Intense Therapy. This is really good for porous hair. It has a little bit of protein in it, but it also has conditioners. And it is great for protecting against sun. So I like it a lot. I like it really well. And then as far as product, we're not using a lot of product. He liked the smell of the original My Gel, so I'm going to be using that. And literally, that's all we're using for like an entire row. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth it in, mostly for moisture, but also for a little bit of hold. But not very much, because with this hair texture, he can't take a lot of product. It just won't work on him. Okay, so I went ahead and I put in the first row, and I'm just gonna check it real quick, make sure that they're even, make sure that the parts aren't concerning me. This one, he has some finer hair here, and eventually as that grows out, it may need to go into the lock. I'm just a little nervous about how small this particular one is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb it out and start over until I get that a good first row, and then I'll use that first row. Oh, there we go. That's why the part wasn't straight. Oh, there's your first row. And there you go. You can see pretty much his locks as they condense. They'll get pretty much about this size. I mean, they'll condense some, but they're not going to be really tiny. He's got nice, good size beds. They might even be a little on the large side, but because his hair texture is so loose, I'm nervous to go much smaller. The crown of his head has a tighter curl texture, but down here, it's just a very loose curl texture, and there's not much we can do about that. And honestly, I'm kind of using the Pravana the way Damien uses his lock and curl. I find that this leave-in gives him a nice curl. It really restores his curl pattern and moisture. So I think it's a good substitute because I can't really use the lock and curl. I had some and I was allergic to it. As I've gone on, I've discovered an easier way to get his locks closer to his scalp, and it's allowing me to make slightly smaller parts. So once I'm done, I'm going to go back and redo the first 3 rows to break them up a little bit. I don't want his locks too small because he doesn't like me doing his hair a lot. and I want it to be quick and easy to maintain, but I also don't want them too big either. And thumb width is where I'm aiming for his hair, given the fact that his hair is so thin. If I go much smaller than that, his locks will just be far too fragile, I'm afraid. So I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it. I'm putting just a little bit of the My Gel on there. It's more of a pomade than a gel. I'm not even really putting enough to use for hold. I'm just using it to kind of smooth down the roots a little bit. Now, instead of going parallel, I'm going at an angle with the comb tilted towards the scalp, and I am facing the lock parallel. And then before I start to move down, I make sure that his lock is nice and tight, and then I go ahead and start moving the comb down his hair. This has really been a case of trial and error because his hair is so fine, and I really wasn't able to find good tutorials on how to comb coil super fine hair. So it's been a lot of figuring it out as I go, but so far I think it's working. And as you can see with some of the other ones that I did earlier, as they're drying, they're puffing up a little bit, and the space in between where the curls were is gone, and it's creating a nice curl pattern. And it's holding. I hardly put any product on his hair at all. And it's pretty much just holding with water because I'm not fighting his natural curl pattern. I'm working with it. So let's do another one real quick, so you can see how it looks. At an angle. What's interesting is because his locks are the same size as his natural curls, I'm not having to clip his hair or anything. It's all staying. I just finished Ariel's starter locks, and I wanted to let you guys see how they look. They're still a little damp. How do you feel so far?
It hurts.
And how do you feel about your hair?
Feels nice.
Yeah? Did you get a chance to see how they looked in the mirror?
Yeah.
And they look okay? Do you think they should be smaller or bigger?
No. Well, I don't know how you're supposed to look.
Okay. Do you like them so far?
I've only had them for like 2 minutes.
Well, how do you feel about them right now? Like them, hate them, don't know, ambivalent?
Doesn't really feel like there's weight on my head.
They feel light?
Yeah.
That's good. So let's take a look and see. Like I said, they're still a little damp. I'm gonna go ahead and use a blow dryer. Pardon my knitting stuff, so. There you can see his parts. You can see his hair is holding without any clips, even though his hair's wet. And that is because I used his natural curl pattern to determine the size of his actual locks. As they're drying, they are shrinking slightly and turning into like little sausages. And they're really cute, actually. I like them so far. And I will be chronicling his lock journey on my channel, so that other people with hair textures like his can get an idea of what it would look like if you start it with comb coils. Doing comb coils on his hair was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I didn't do comb coils the last time I tried to do locks because I assumed it would be too hard to get his hair to stay, but using his natural curl pattern, it was quite easy actually. The hardest part was detangling his hair and trimming it as I went because he had a lot of split ends that needed trimmed. So on that note, ciao!